Hey everyone, my name is Matt and welcome to Cobb Hill Farm. The last few days have been well above freezing for us and things are starting to thaw out a little bit compared to what we had last week weather-wise. So in today's video, I want to start getting busy with next year's firewood. The firewood that we're going to burn for next winter. With me being home more on a regular basis every day, I've been burning more firewood, so we've gone through quite a bit of it this year. More than we have in past years. So I want to get started at least trying to replenish our firewood for next year. So that's what we're going to try to accomplish in today's video. At least get a start on it anyways. So where we keep our firewood is in the far back corner of our property. And getting to it when we have a foot or more snow can be quite challenging. So I don't usually mess with it. And who wants to deal with firewood that's covered in snow anyways? This is all we have left for the remainder of this year. There was 2 full rows, 16 foot long, about 5 foot high, and the logs are 16 inches in length. So that equates to about 4 face cord of firewood. And the very back row was a half length row, 4 foot high. And that fell over. So I want to try to change things up this year when it comes to the firewood. That's something I've always been struggling with, where to do it, where can I put the firewood that's going to be accessible when we get a lot of snow. Luckily in the past years we haven't had much. So this year I think I'm going to change it up a little bit. About a year ago I picked up a bunch of these IBC tote metal wire crates, whatever technical term you want to call these things, in hopes of using them for a separate project here on the farm. Well, I haven't got around to using them for that yet. So in the meantime, while they're just sitting around here doing nothing, I have an idea of putting firewood in them for this year and seeing if we can incorporate that into our operation. Now I know this isn't a new concept. You know, there's people out here out on YouTube that do it. My cousin up the road, he's been putting firewood in them for a bunch of years. His neighbor has too. So I know it's nothing new here. And quite honestly, the guy I got these from, that's what he was doing, a firewood business with them. So the biggest thing is I want to see how I can incorporate this into our operation and how can we make it easier for us handling firewood and maybe even getting the firewood closer to the house for the winter months. So the first thing I got to do is go get all these metal wire crates out of the woods. And today's a good day to do that with a snowpack on the ground, and hopefully with it still being frozen, we won't get stuck or make too much of a mess getting out to them. The metal wire crates are back over in that corner, just behind these set of trees here. It is on the opposite side of the fence line for the cow's pasture that we put up last year. I put those bins over there before I put this fence line up. So I should have moved them probably back when I put this fence line up. But I always figured that if I had to get back there to get to them, I would do exactly what I'm doing now. Just drop the fence down to the ground and I can drive over it. always wet. It doesn't really matter what time of year. That's why we don't do anything over there. And this, my friends, is why we don't do anything in this corner of the field. This area is always wet. We're in the opposite corner of where we do firewood in this corner of the field. This area here has always been a swamp area. It always holds water. The well for the house is over in the far back corner over here, and it's spring fed. Our well is only 15 feet deep. That's something that I want to talk about later on, but in the 40 plus years that I've lived in this house, that well has never ever gone dry. So Note to self, don't ever put anything back over here again. Well, we'll put all this back up for now, but it's not going to be like this for very long. Alright, there we have it. 10 boxes here, 11, and the 12th one's in the barn, got firewood in it. And it appears this one here, I got a little bit of fixing to do on this plastic foot that goes on the bottom. But that's alright. So we'll get these things out and we'll utilize them for firewood this year, and on to the next step. It's the next morning. Yesterday I ran out of time in between my bus runs and the rain was starting to pick up anyway, so it was a good time to call it quits. But I'm back out here. I want to take the remainder of this firewood that is left out here and start filling these bins. I'm hoping that'll give me a rough idea of how much I have to cut and split yet this spring. I have no idea how many bins total I'm going to need for next year's burn season. So, you know, knowing what's here and then what was here, I don't know, hopefully that'll give me some sort of idea as to how much I need to cut and split. So let's get busy putting this in these bins. Warmer out here today than it was yesterday. Well, I'm not sure how high is too high in order to be able to put another crate on top of this one. So I think I'm going to stop here with the level, get another tote and set it on top of here and see if I'm good or if I got to move some pieces around. So I guess we'll see. Well, looks like I did all right. Probably could put a few more pieces right there in the center. Otherwise, I think it looks all right. So in the other box, I stacked the wood this way, and I got 2 rows, and I filled in the middle between them with just random logs. Well, this box, I decided to try to run the rows this way and see if I could get 3 rows in there. And as you see, I did. Then I got thinking about it. This is the way that I stacked the other box that's down in the bottom of the barn, and I was able to get the 3 rows in there, no problem. So I almost wonder I could probably get more wood in it this way than the way that I just stacked the other box, but I don't know, either way it works. There's firewood in them. One thing I have noticed is a lot of people like to cut a big hole in the side of the cage, so that way you can reach in and get to the bottom pretty easy. I'm not going to do that for a couple of reasons. One, I'm 6'4". I can reach over the top quite a ways before I have to start going in from the side. And 2, by cutting a hole in the side of it, you weaken the structural integrity of the crate, and you know, what good is that? And 3, by cutting a big hole in the side, you're limited to just putting firewood in it. If I want to do something else with it, now I got this big hole in the side. So I don't know, that's just my view. So this is the way I'm going to do it. Service, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this is what we got left. There's probably about a half a bin's worth here, but this is where we're going to stop for the day because it's getting pretty muddy and rutted up out here. Ground's pretty soft and wet, so there's really no reason to rut it all up and make it a mess. We're not in any hurry for nothing, so I was just curious to see how far this would go. We ended up filling these 2 bins, so that kind of gives me an idea roughly how much. So if we end up with 5 or 6 bins full of firewood going into next year, that's kind of my target. I think right now we should be pretty good. So let's get out of here. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. We'll see you next time.